Good morning and salutations, Serjavians! It is time for yet another episode of the Serjavian Nation's favorite radio station DJ. Here he is, DJ Serjay. DJ Serjay. And once again, salutations, Serjavians. It is Serjay Svek back with another stream and with another episode of Early Mornings with DJ Serjay. How is everybody doing and how are you all? It is another Thursday morning here in the Philippines, November 17, 2022, 6:07 a.m. That time check was brought to you by Serjay Svek, yours truly, DJ Serjay. And I hope that everybody was doing well and is having a great time, and I hope that you have your plans ready for the weekend and that you'll have a nice rest, a nice time with whatever that you do, and then whatever that you need done will be done. I was actually very busy over the weekend, and that's gonna be the main topic of today's conversation. We're gonna talk about a little trip that I had over the weekend and just a bunch of other things that have been happening. But for now, I would just like to acknowledge the fact that it is Thursday once again, and I am very happy that all of you who are watching live and who are watching the VOD as we speak, that you have all survived yet another week. I'm very happy that you are all here, and I hope that you will continue doing your best, because you have survived all or 100% of all the bad days that you have gone through, and you are real troopers in going through everything that you have done. You are much stronger than you think you are. You are more powerful than you think you are. So give yourself all the credit that you deserve. Okay, and also I would just like to thank once again all the viewers, all the lurkers. You make me very happy that you are all making me part of your day, and I hope that, and I'm very grateful that I will hopefully become part of your day by putting a little more color into your time. And then whether you're at school or at work or just trying to wake up, or you're already winding down from your time zone, I hope that you will enjoy the show, and feel free to go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments below if you feel like it. Okay, so we'll not delay any further. Let's talk about what we have done last weekend. So your boy, Serjay Svek, went on a little trip over the weekend. So he finally, after so many years, he finally decided to leave home again. And, well, this is pretty much like the second time that I actually left home within this year. Earlier this year, I returned to my hometown, and how long has it been? It's been 7 years since I returned to my hometown. And my hometown was a pretty sleepy little city. Sure, it was called a city, but it didn't really have all of the conveniences, all of the resources, all of the things that you would find in something like Metro Manila. So it's a big difference when I left it all these years ago. Or the last time I visited, at least. But when I visited it earlier this year, it has changed so much. Many streets, many landmarks that I grew up with, that when I was a little boy, that I frequented, that I learned to love, a number of them are no longer there. They have been replaced by a bunch of other things that I do not recognize. So you could say that my hometown has moved on without me. Or in another way, I have moved on without my hometown. Ever since I moved to Metro Manila. It's sad. It's sad to think about that. You know, times have changed, the place has changed, so many things have changed. And it's not, you can't really navigate your hometown as well as you used to, because there are just so many things that have changed. And it's terrifying. It's sad. You can't really find that sense of nostalgia because a lot of the things that you associate with your childhood, with your teenage years, are now gone. However, if you think about it too, it was bound to happen, you know? There are things in life that just never stay constant at all. And part of growing up and growing older is just learning to accept that, you know, you will never get to experience things the same way. I remember learning in philosophy class in college, because we did have philosophy class a number of times. So one thing that I learned is that you can stand in the middle of a river, right? You can put your feet in the water, you can stand right there. Sure, it's the same river, but the water that flows past your feet is not the same. And even if the water will go to the sea, it will come back, it will rise up to the sky and then fall down as rain and then go back to the same river. It's not the same thing. It has been changed. So everything that's happened in our lives, that has passed through our lives, even if we get to experience the same thing again, it's never truly the same thing. So I guess the moral of the story is that, you know, no matter how many times I go back to my hometown, it's not going to be the same experience as I was as a kid or as a teenager. There will always be something different, whether it's a new location or new company or just something that just makes it different from the previous. And again, it might be something that will make you sad. It might make you wish for the nostalgia of the past. But it can also mean something good too. Because that means that despite the fact that you're experiencing something similar, like you go to the restaurant that you frequented as a kid, it can also be an exciting thing because that is in itself a new experience. Maybe they had a new menu item. Maybe they fixed up the decor, something. These small things that have changed, they are what add up and make things totally different for everybody else. And we in our very, very young and fleeting lives, compared to the rest of the universe, the only thing that we can really do is just appreciate all of that. You know, we don't have long to live in this world, so we might as well just appreciate all of our experiences and try to gain as many experiences as we can possibly do. I don't know if that was supposed to be as heavy as it was, especially early in the morning, and I apologize for that, but maybe I won't. But I'm really grateful that we were able to get that out of the way, because so we're talking about how my hometown has changed. And I also want to bring that up because that is something that I am greatly familiar with, my hometown. I've lived with it for pretty much half of my life before I had to leave and then find other pastures. But now that now that we are done with that topic, let's go to the main meat of today's conversation. So today we're going to talk about my trip that I experienced last weekend. So last weekend, if you saw my Twitter, I went to a place called Aquaplanet in Pampanga. And Aquaplanet is a bit far away to the north of Metro Manila. It's really, really, well, there's just a bunch of, driving that you have to do. So, and it's not easy if you're planning to commute. As far as I know, I'm not the best person to contact when it comes to commuting. But yes, we went there to Pampanga, and I went there with a bunch of friends. And it wasn't exactly like an impromptu thing. We were planning to do this a long time ago. There were supposed to be more people, but unfortunately, not everybody could make it. So a lot fewer of us ended up going. And so on the day itself, so last Saturday morning, I was contacted by my friends, and then we got driven, and then we went. So we gathered everybody, and then we went all the way to Pampanga. And for those of you who live in Pampanga, Pampanga is let me rephrase that. So for those of you who live in the Clark area, or who don't know about the Clark area, Aquaplanet is near the Clark area, and that was where all of the American bases used to be. And then it's a pretty wide and spacious place, lots of grass, lots of empty space. So especially, it gives you lots of time to think. And when you're going to SCTEX as well, it really brings back memories of all the times that I would visit and pass by the SLEX, or the South Luzon Expressway. And that was pretty much my version of like riding across the expressway, and then once in a while we would stop by a gas station, and the gas stations are not like the ones in Metro Manila, where it's just a gas station and maybe just a convenience store. But the gas stations along the expressways, like SCTEX, or which is the Subic. Wait, what's SCTEX short for again? Let me just check myself before I correct myself. So SCTEX is short for Subic Clark Tarlac Expressway. There we go. So when we went by the SCTEX, it was also same as going through the South Luzon Expressway. There were a bunch of gas stations, a lot of pit stops, and aside from convenience stores, there were also a bunch of restaurants. You could find a Starbucks, a Jollibee, a bunch of other things. And then one of the pit stops that we made was at Lakeshore, Pampanga. And the funny thing is that when we stopped by at Lakeshore at the gas station there, that was coincidentally the same place where I had a stop when I last went to the beach towards the north. So it was just felt like a weird sense of deja vu that, oh wait, I remember this place. This looks very familiar. And then lo and behold, we are here in Lakeshore many, many years later. Which on a side note, that time when I went to the beach was 5 years ago. And I had never been to a beach in so many years. But going back to it now, I do miss actually going to the beach. I now understand why people cannot seem to survive without their dose of vitamin C, SEA. Because it's really good to be able to like walk along the beach, hear the waves hitting the sand, getting your sand in your feet and maybe in your trunks. As inconvenient as it is, just being one with the beach and with the earth and the water, it's a really different feeling. And I would like to go visit the beach again in the very near future. So now that we're leaving that, now that we've done with that, let's go back to our next part, which is, so we're back at Lakeshore, and then we made a stop, we had some food, we ate at the Kenny Rogers there. And the Kenny Rogers is, it's something. The Kenny Rogers is something. I admit, Kenny Rogers has changed a lot in the past few years. I just wish that it was not as... I wish it was as good as it was back then. But again, like what we talked about earlier in this stream, things change. And, well, we just have to accept that the Kenny Rogers that I was used to is no longer the same as it is now. But I do admit their corned beef omelette that I had for their breakfast meal ain't so bad. And their brewed coffee, I'll admit, the brewed coffee was nice. It's really, really good. I love it. And I would like to recognize the presence. It sounds very, very fancy, but yes, I would like to recognize the presence of Silmayu. Thank you very much for stopping by to the stream. Welcome, welcome, and I hope that you sit tight and grab a snack and grab your breakfast and enjoy the show for another episode of DJ Serjay. And corned beef and brewed coffee are the best indeed. A very good combination, especially for breakfast. So yes, we were talking about me eating at Lakeshore and then having breakfast at Kenny Rogers. And then so we just ate there, and then after we were done eating, we continued along with our drive until we ended up at Aqua Planet, which is where I spent a lot of my Saturday. And I just want to let everybody know, Aqua Planet, for those of you who don't like go northbound, Aqua Planet is just like Splash Island. So it's another famous water park in the Philippines as well. So water slides, water rides, you name it, they got it. And yeah, so when we went there, I just want to let everybody know that if you do plan to visit Aqua Planet, they will confiscate your food and water. You're not allowed to bring food and water inside the park at all. So let me just reiterate, you're not allowed to bring outside food or water inside. So if you have any food or water, you might as well just eat it outside, because they have like tables and tents available so you can eat your food, or you'll just have to leave it with you. Leave it outside in your car, for example. Oh, and you're very welcome for the shout out, Silmayu. Thank you very much again for stopping by and appreciate the support. Okay, so, and that's the reason why also there was like a fountain, because if people bring their own water, then usually the guards would just dump it into the fountain, apparently. So there's that. And of course, after you go for the bag check, actually, what surprised me most is that they will give you your bracelet, your RFID bracelet. And that is not only just going to let you show that you are actually a guest, but it is also the main way for you to actually pay for any food or drink or whatever. So how they're going to do that is actually there's like an ATM near the entrance, and you can withdraw money from the ATM, and then you can have it exchanged at a counter, and then you can convert your paper bills into credits in the RFID bracelet. So if you want to buy a snack from the snack bar, you just order your food, and then you tap your RFID bracelet on the scanner, and then boom, it is paid. So if you don't have your ATM card with you, then you're in tough luck. Because everything there is cashless in Aqua Planet. I think they allow Gcash or PayMaya. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's just something that you have to think about. But the most reliable way to go pay things is just to withdraw money, have it converted in the RFID bracelet, and then whoop, just tap away. And for those of you who were asking, no, I did not go into like the super adventurous water slides. Your boy, Serjay Svek, is not a thrill seeker. I may have a colorful avatar. I may wish to have a colorful life, or to bring more color into my viewers' lives. But I don't want to. I don't want to have a super colorful, thrill-seeking life. So I'm fine where I am in my lazy river. So one of the things that I did is that one of my first rides was that I actually just went on a river ride, and then you have like your floater, your tube, and then you could just sit there and then just sail away along the river. And I did that for like maybe a whole round. It was really, really relaxing, you know? Up to a point where you get under the bridge, and then there's like mist that comes by, or they're gonna shower you with some water. And I was still wearing my glasses at the time, so you know, having water splashed on your face while you're wearing glasses is not fun at all. I probably need to change my glasses very soon, because it's been a long time since I actually wore it. And you know, having salt chlorinated water on your glasses is probably not a good idea. So that's all that I thought I was going to do. But not only that, I was convinced actually to go to a really well, it was, how shall I say? It's sort of like a water slide for kiddie level. I will not say it's like for children because it's not like very small, but it's more like compared to the more adventurous water slides where it just like drops you straight down 90 degrees. This one is still has like a bit of slopes and it like goes around and around, but it's still pretty nice. I would have joined because it would have been like by pairs. Me and a friend would have gone up there, but the problem was, before I went up the stairs to the ride, one of the attendees looked at me and said, Sir, step on the weighing scale. And then I was a bit confused, and then I just said, okay. I went on the weighing scale, and then it beeped, and then he said, Sir, I'm so sorry, you're too heavy, you're not allowed to go on the ride. And that... So yeah, apparently I was way too heavy for the ride. Well, that's just how it is. But yes, again, Silmayu, I will now lurk, Serjay, since you just finished my work. I hope to catch you on your streams again. Good luck, have fun, and good morning again. Thank you very much again for dropping by, Silmayu. You go ahead and have a good rest. And thank you again for dropping by, and this will be a regular segment as well every week. So either 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Philippine time, every Thursday, we'll be having another episode of DJ Serjay. So if you can't catch me on my gaming streams at night, you can definitely do this every weekday. And I hope to see you in whenever in the future. So you take care and have a good day. So going back to what was happening, your boy was considered way too heavy. Way too heavy for the ride. So nope. I guess I still have a lot of losing weight to do before I am eligible to ride that ride in Aqua Planet. And apparently the weight limit for one person is 200 pounds. So just a consideration for people who want to ride that ride. I still have a lot of visiting to the gym that I need to do, apparently. What was that? And I went with another friend, and another friend of mine was also what's this? Was also not allowed to join. And the reasoning is that apparently you're not allowed to go on the ride if you're more than 200 pounds. I think it's probably because you're going to tip over the floater if you're not careful, because it's a pair. So even if the accumulated weight of both people on the float is more than 200 pounds, if one person is above 200 pounds, then it might tip the floater over when you go down. Which is understandable. It still kind of hurts. I'll be clear. It still kind of hurts, but you know, it's a fact of life. I know where I stand on the weighing scale, and so that just means that I have a lot more to work on in order for me to actually ride on that ride in the future. So what I did during that time while my other friends were on the ride, I just sat down and waited for them to go down. But it wasn't so bad, because actually if you want to ride on the ride, you have to bring the floaters all the way to the top. So if you're not very strong, it can be a bit taxing for you to carry that thing on your shoulder all the way, like maybe like 3 stories or 4 stories high on those stairs. So yeah, just something that you'll have to be mindful of. And eventually, I wasn't planning to go on any other rides at all, but I was eventually convinced to ride one ride, and I forgot the name of that, but it was pretty much like a straightforward water slide down. And you're not riding on a floater, you're riding on something that looks more like a carpet. And there are like a couple of handlebars on the carpet, and you're always told to tuck in your elbows, because if you don't tuck in your elbows, if you splay your elbows or spread them out, your elbows might hit the sides of the slide, and you might get scratched and hurt. So it took a bit of convincing for me to actually try it, but eventually I did. And then, well, it just, it worked out in the end. I was planning to keep my eyes open the entire time. The only problem is that the water got into my eyes within the slide, so I had to close my eyes. Which was a good idea because I kind of feel dizzy whenever I go down like a very rapid slide, and I can feel my head just floating in the air as I rapidly descend the slide. Just, and then at the very bottom. If you've never seen it before, that's also an explanation as to why I don't like flying in an airplane at all. Even though I need to go fly on a plane once in a while, I don't. There's just something about riding on a plane, especially with all the turbulence that happens. It really bothers me. Having to deal with the clouds and not knowing where you are in the sky, and then eventually when you land, because unfortunately it seems inevitable that there will be clouds that you will pass through when you land, then you feel that slight rumbling of the plane as you just start your descent, your final descent. Oh boy, that's just something right there. It really would be a lot better if I didn't have to deal with turbulence at all. But unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about that. That's just a part of the package when you ride on an airplane. And when I went down that slide, I had that same feeling, you know? You're riding on an airplane, and then all of a sudden the plane dips, and then you feel it's like all the fluid in your brain is still up there at the top of your skull, and then you just whoosh down, whoop, and then you feel that sudden shh when you slide at the bottom. It was a lot smoother than I expected, at least. So, and the descent is so much faster compared to the climb up the stairs, which is good. And I will say that I believe that I handled it a lot better compared to some other people that went before us. Because for them, they agreed to all go kick off, because you have to kick off when you want to go down the slide. So they agreed to kick off at the same time. However, a couple of them did not move at all. They did not kick off. And so the attendee was like, "What are you doing? Kick off, kick off." And he was even like slapping their legs, telling them, "Move, move, move." And then eventually they moved. So as terrified as I was, even if my face didn't show it, as terrified as I was, I would like to give myself some credit for actually being able to kick off right when they said so. Just thinking about it exhausts me. Just talking about it exhausts me, actually. But we were able to do it, and I think that's an accomplishment in and of itself. I didn't do any more rides, actually, after that, because at that point, I had already exhausted my excitement meter. The only other thing that I did for entertainment, in a way, was that I just I went to the wave pool. So there's like a wave, like this huge pool, and every 5 minutes, the wave machine would turn on, and then it would churn up the water, and then it would become really, really intense. And then you would have like a chestboard that you will hold onto so that you can try to surf. Unfortunately, I tried going into the water, but unfortunately it was really, really hard to navigate. And I don't know how I was supposed to navigate using that board, but the only thing that happened was that the only thing that happened was that the board ended up getting knocked out of my hands twice, and then the lifeguard had to toot his whistle just to let people know that there's a loose board. And I'm like, why do you keep insisting that I use the board if it's gonna fall out of my hands every single time? You know? It's not fun. But you know, being able to stand against the waves is pretty fun. And it was nice. It was nice. I'll give it that. But, you know, the board kind of seemed useless for me. It's like that plastic board that's as long from your neck to your chest. It's not like a genuine surfboard. There's actually something else. There was actually another attraction where it's really like a surfing test. So they have water rushing in from the bottom, and then the park goer will have to stand on the surfboard. Not stand. They will be lying down on the surfboard, and then the attendee in front of them will be shouting orders and demonstrating. So from lying down on your belly, you will have to kneel down. You will have to put your hands behind your back. You will have to sit up straight. You will have to lean forward, do a bunch of poses, and if you wipe out, that's it. Your turn is over. I thought about that. I thought about trying it, but the problem is that I was wearing my glasses. And something tells me if I got on the ride with my glasses on and I wiped out, I think we'd be having a bit of a tragedy. And not just broken glasses. A broken ego and probably a broken something else. So I know what my limits are. I know what to do. So we'll just stick to what I am fine with, you know. Again, I'm not that much of a thrill seeker in life, so just sometimes you should be willing to push yourself, like what I did with that slide. But sometimes you have to understand your limits as well. And you know what? Whatever works, you know? And maybe next time when I feel a little braver, I'll go ahead and try the other rides too. Whenever that happens. I'm going to go ahead and drink some coffee. If you haven't gotten a drink yet, now would be a good time to do so. Woo! I hope your morning is doing well. If you had your coffee, now would be a good time to get some coffee. Nothing tastes better than some good old black coffee early in the morning. Even though technically this is my nighttime, and I'll be winding down to sleep not long after this. So whatever happens. Just go ahead and enjoy the flow, and I hope that you continue enjoying the show. And again, for those of you who are watching, who are lurking, I thank you very much for making me part of your day. I think I put a little too much instant coffee in the water. You know, I have tried brewed coffee. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Brewed coffee is good, but the problem is that it takes too long for me to actually get to the coffee, you know? You have to put a filter on it, whether it's the paper or you have to put it in the pot, and then you have to wait for what seems like ages. But for me, I'm just like, okay, boil water, instant coffee, pour, boom, and that's it. Dang, we are done with that. No more problems. So, for me, who's always in a rush, just give me instant coffee and we'll be fine. But if I want to treat myself, then I would recommend, especially around Metro Manila, I suggest that you all try something called Nanyang. N-A-N, that's Nancy, Alpha Nancy, Y-A-N-G. Nanyang. And Nanyang is home to iced kopi, K-O-P-I, and it is coffee with evaporated milk and condensed milk. So it's sweet. Okay, it's really, really sweet, but it's really, really good. And And I think that's something that everybody who loves iced coffee should be willing to try. So again, that's Nanyang, Nanyang, and iced coffee. Yeah. So there. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. It's available on Grab and Food Panda and all those other places, but you can also find it in malls. So just sharing for everybody's benefit. Okay, so now that we are done with that, let's go back to our topic. So we were still at Aquaplanet Park, and after all of the excitement, we decided to get some food. And not long after that, we went over and got some food, and the food that I got was from the local store. Again, you're not allowed to bring outside food and drink into Aquaplanet. So I had to I had to buy from the place, and they served an okay burger, an okay bunch of fries and stuff, and you had to use the RFID bracelet in order to pay. The only problem that I had with the burger is that when I bit into it, like around halfway, I noticed that it was still a little pink inside. Now I don't mind if it was a steak, but it's a burger, so it has to be well done. And so what I did is that I just decided to gather up my courage and then go over to the counter and then ask, is it okay if I can ask you to please heat this up until it's well done? And then eventually the staff went over to me and said, sir, we're just gonna cook you a new burger instead. We're sorry for the mistake. And I was like, well, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You could just heat up the burger and then just give it to me. I'm fine with that. But they were insisting. They were saying, no sir, we're gonna go ahead and cook you up a new burger, make sure it's well done, and give it to you. And I was like, okay, I guess, thank you. But I don't know, at the back of my mind, I still thought it was a bit excessive. And you know what? Not only did they give me a burger, they gave me more fries. And the fries were not that flavorful, unfortunately. So I didn't really get to enjoy it that much. But fries are fries. And, you know, if people are able to enjoy it, then fine by me. And I was with friends, so the more fries they gave, the more that they were able to enjoy for themselves. Because nothing really beats KFC fries for me. Nothing really beats KFC fries. Even though you can buy something like KFC fries in like S&R or Landers, because they're like your generic seasoned orangey fries. I don't really know what the seasonings are, but there's something that makes it different from your regular Jollibee or your regular McDonald's fries. So there's that. But anyway, after the incident with my hamburger, people were beginning to wind down. Some were just staying in our gazebo place, or some were still like going around repeating rides and stuff. But by that point in time, I just decided to stay where I was because I didn't want to tempt fate and be asked, Serjay, why don't you go ahead, since you're here, why don't you go ahead and join this ride here? And I'm like, nope. Nuh-uh. So just to play it safe, I just stayed where I was and then let the kids have their fun. At least I can say that I actually did go to a ride and not just sit where I was. And after we were done, we went to our hotel where we would stay overnight. We were supposed to have it like someone would always be with a roommate, but one of my roommates did not want to stay overnight with us in the hotel and wanted to go back home. So I had the room all to myself. Yes. So I could go ahead and just do whatever shenanigans I wanted, and I did not have to worry about anybody barging in. It was all mine, all on my own. So yeah, it was we arrived pretty early. We arrived at the hotel at around 5 p.m. Even though it was already turning pretty dark. So I know that we're already like reaching like towards the winter, because now at around 5:30 the sky begins to darken a lot. So what happened was that as soon as I arrived at 5 p.m, I just went over there, and then I took a nap. I was supposed to take like a 1 hour nap and then wake up in time for dinner. Unfortunately, it's not that easy, because even if I took a 1 hour nap, that 1 hour nap became a 3 hour nap. So there's not much that I could do about that. I just had a 3 hour nap, and then that's it. And then I missed dinner with my friends, and they did not bother waking me up, which is understandable, since I had the key to my own room and nobody could really get in. But I did get a good rest at least, and by the time that I woke up, nobody was around, was awake. So I was pretty much alone the entire time. And I would just like to acknowledge the presence of my good friend Ren, one of my mods as well. And if you want to go ahead and see some very skilled Splatoon gameplay, which usually means that he is not playing with me, then go ahead and follow Ren on Twitch. He also streams simultaneously on YouTube. But yeah, that's what he does. So if you want to see some actual good Splatoon gameplay, go ahead and follow Ren, because he's already been qualified for tournaments in Southeast Asia. Okay, so I woke up pretty late in the evening already of Saturday, and by that time a number of the restaurants near the hotel were already closed. And unfortunately, Ren, I think you and I both know how difficult it would be if there's no food. And good to know that you arrived extra early at work. I hope that you are doing well. And sit back and relax and enjoy the show, and glad to have you here. So what I did is that eventually I decided to go outside. I ventured out from the hotel, and then I checked my surroundings. And then I found that there was a Burger King on one corner of the street, and across the street from that was a Jollibee. So I decided to go to Jollibee. And no better way to end the day than a good old Jollibee spaghetti and burger. Cheeseburger. Yum with cheese. I know a lot of American friends that I talk to when they visit the Philippines. They're not really impressed with the Jollibee spaghetti, and that's fine. It's just how it is catered to Philippine palates. But don't go ahead and say bad stuff about the Jollibee food, because it may not be, quote unquote authentic, but it's my childhood, and that's what we'll be throwing hands. In short. Ren Connect says, I become more crazy and all when I'm hungry. That's true. You cannot. People really be hangry when they're hungry, and I try to maintain an even head, rather. But sometimes I just want to eat, okay? And sometimes when I eat, I feel so much better. It's it's so good that I was able to actually enjoy the food, but I had to make sure that I wasn't walking too late. It wasn't being too obvious because it was at night. It was almost midnight, and I was in unfamiliar territory. So I had to make sure my headphones were down, and then I was making sure I was looking side to side so that I would always be on the lookout for any people. And before I went back to the hotel, I actually stopped by a Korean grocery store. And I think, Ren, you might have seen that post that I had on Twitter where I was showing the Korean ice cream. So this is not going to be so much about my... yeah, this isn't going to be so much about my trip anymore than so much about food. Yeah. Let me move to my screen. Hold on for a minute. What's this? Let me see if I can... Let me see if I can make this work. Hold on. But I posted a lot of media, so there's a lot of things that I had to go through. So just give me a second. There. Okay. Let me see if I can actually make this work. So... Properties. Okay, yeah, that's it. So this is what we were talking about. So this is the music. This is the one that I was talking about, the cold Pepero ice cream. So yes, I never knew that Pepero actually had ice cream before. You know, and that was the funny part, because November 11 is not only Pepero Day in Korea. It's not only Pocky Day in Japan, and it's not also Single Day. It's not only Singles Day. It's Pepero Ice Cream Day. Yes. And welcome very much, and thank you very much to all of the raiders. Good to see you. And Vivi, thank you very much for dropping by. And I hope that you had a great stream, and I'm glad to see you now in chat. Welcome to everybody. My name is Serjay Svek, and I am the color server PN or GIFtuber, rather. And this is part of my regular segment, which is Early Mornings with DJ Serjay, because it is early morning here in the Philippines, and I just want to talk about my experiences and maybe, bounce off with chat and talk about stuff. And right now we were talking about a trip that I had earlier or last weekend. And this is just like my Just Chatting segment, but usually what I do is that I also go play video games. I also stream Splatoon. I also stream Dark Souls on Twitch, and I'm going to be having a Dark Souls 1 stream later at 6 p.m. Philippine time, which is +8 GMT. And if you convert that to Eastern Standard Time in the US, that is 5 a.m. And good morning to you, Mario. Good to see you. Good morning from Germany. Thank you very much, everybody, for stopping by. And I hope that everybody is doing well. And sit back, relax, get some snacks, and we'll go ahead and continue with a story time. And Lisha, thank you very much for stopping by, too. I come in and the first thing that I see is ice cream. Yes. Because we were talking about the trip that I had over the weekend. I just wanted to share my experiences to you. And for those of you who have not yet followed Lisha, she is a Genshin Impact streamer. And she's been very, very nice to me. And I'm very grateful to be visiting her whenever she drops by, or rather I drop by to her streams. And let's go ahead and just give her a shout out. And if you want to go ahead and see her progress the story of Genshin Impact, you know what to do. Go ahead and give a follow as well. Excuse me, we ran through the limits, so just give it like a minute and then we'll get through. Okay, so this is the ice cream that I was going through. Excuse me. And then we'll go to the next image. So we have. So instead of buying the Pepero ice cream that I mentioned earlier, instead I got this Samanko one, which is the Samanko is similar to, correct me if I'm wrong, Ren, the taiyaki from Japan. So it's like that fish-shaped cake that has red beans inside. And yeah, and the Korean version is by the Bingray brand, and it's ice cream. And then you could see here there are versions that have like chocolate filling along with ice cream or coffee, and then there's also like a strawberry filling. But the one that I enjoy the most is red beans. I don't know. It's just red beans is not really sweet, but I kind of like the contrast between the vanilla ice cream and then the beans. The beans are good. That's why I jokingly called it the beans fish. There we go. And it is taiyaki. Oh, thank you for that, Ren. And yeah, thank you for the shout out, Lisha. You're always very welcome. Thank you again for being a very supportive VTuber. And yeah, the only problem that I have is that the filling for the beans fish is not that big. Look at that. See? What in Japanese is called anko or red bean paste. It's really good, yes. But look at that. You see? It's just like a tiny red strip compared to the ice cream. And there's like that bit at the bottom that doesn't stick to the ice cream. So it's like it's not really maximizing the space, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's red bean filling, bro. It's red bean filling. So yeah. And that was the ice cream that I had before I decided to go to bed. What a scam. I don't know. Red beans must have been pretty expensive at the time. Oh yeah, there's a clip of me. For those of you who have not yet followed me on Twitter, I try to post daily clips of me and my adventures on stream. And yesterday's stream of Splatoon 3 was such an adventure that if you go to my Twitch archive, I have like 14 different markers that I have on Twitch, which I'll be using for highlights. I probably have like 2 weeks worth of highlights that I will be posting every midnight Philippine time here on my Twitter and also on my YouTube page. So yes, feel free to follow me there. It's just search for Serjay Svek, both. Okay, so, and then I woke up the next day, and I woke up pretty early. So what I did is that I went over to some cafe. It's called Mr. Park. Bread and coffee. And one thing that I found very interesting was their warheads. You know what? Actually, it sounds very quiet here. I apologize. Let me play some music while we're at it here. Hold on. There we go. Let me know if you hear the music, though. And if it's not dominated over my voice. Ren suffered so much last night. That's true. I am so sorry, Ren, that I had to subject you to that. But, you know, just to give everybody an idea of what happened last night, let's talk about the stream. Let's just show this clip where I was laughing for 1 minute. So just to give everybody a bit of context about what happened, in Splatoon, there is this mode called Salmon Run, which you see on the screen right now. And it's kind of like Zombies mode, where you can have your friends revive you if you are too injured or knocked out. And the problem is that I put myself in a position where I was not able to be revived by Ren and my friends. And because of that, I realized only at the last second, oh right, you're not supposed to do that. And I laughed. And if you can hear me, and then in the background, you will probably hear Ren as well losing his mind. So let's just see if you can hear this one. Wait, let me just put this here.
Not gonna lie, it's just fun, though. You may not believe this, but just fun. How was your day, Gab? Are you feeling good?
Do not get revived in these shoes.
I was confused. Ba't sumasabog sa labas yung rage?
Oh my god.
Live it all in. Okay, got you.
The amount of serotonin you're having right now.
Oh my goodness, Ren. The amount, thank you for always pointing it out, but yes, the amount of serotonin that we had to go through was just something. And I'm so sorry that you were subjected to that, bro. But yeah, that was something right there. That was the longest I have ever laughed in a long time, trust me. And the last time that I laughed so hard, it was so bad that I ended up needing like a paper bag. So I was like almost hyperventilating already. So that was an experience. That was an experience. And so moving on, we're talking about this soda here. This is something special because I'm not sure if all of you have heard about Warheads. Warheads the candy. As a kid, Warheads was a candy that is like super sour. It was super sour, as in, your face is probably going to look like this person on the can. And it came to my surprise that they actually had their own soda. So they had Warheads green apple soda, Warheads lemon soda. So that was a surprise to me, and I did not understand either. So yeah. Just a second. I'm going to put this off for a minute. Hold on. Let me just double check where we are. Oh, we're in ads. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me go ahead and just finish off this ad break for a minute for those of you who are watching. And we'll go ahead and continue our conversation. I apologize. I got a bit too carried away. But thank you very much, Husk, also for dropping by. We'll just finish this break and then we'll continue from where we left off. All right, so just sit tight now. Okay, so if you can still hear me, and if you're all still here, thank you very much for stopping by, everybody. Thank you very much for your patience, and let's just see first if you can hear the Spotify music. Okay, I think it's working. And yep, thank you again all for your patience. Apologies for not starting the break on time, but that's something that I like to do, which is like every hour I want to space out my breaks so that we don't have to be bombarded with like maybe 1 or 90-second breaks and everything else from in the middle of the stream. So now that we're all back, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Soulless Husk, who is a very, very good friend of mine. We go way back, he and I. So long story short. And really grateful that he is here because he is a very good he is really, really good at Souls games. So he actually has a series on his Twitch channel called Road to Elden Ring, which he plays all of the all of the From Software games from Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne, all the way to Elden Ring for the first time. So if you want to see some skilled From Software gameplay, go ahead and check out Husk. Okay, so now that we're back with that, let's talk about the Warhead Soda. I just want to preface this by saying that I did not buy any Warhead Soda because knowing my experience with Warheads, it's not fun. I know I like my coffee bitter because I have a pretty bitter outlook on life. But I don't think I'm ready for all of that. But I just want to acknowledge the existence of Warhead Soda because if you have gone to those warehouse shopping centers like S&R and where S&R and Landers, then you would find really weird sodas like this. I think Ren would know because for those of you who are not from the Philippines, S&R and Landers are warehouse supermarkets, so they're kind of like Costco. The closest American thing that I could think about is Costco. So yeah, and where they sell the Kirkland brand stuff. Anyway, so not only are you bound to find, let's say, Warheads or also some Warhead Soda, but you're also able to find like Snickers flavored milk or Kit Kat flavored milk. That's a thing. And also some not Judge bubblegum. No. Bazooka bubblegum soda, apparently. So yeah, that's a thing. So Husk says, I've been to one in the Philippines before. Don't you have essentially a flat cart thing? Yeah, like that. It's one of those, everything is still on the shelves, everything can be bought in bulk, and they're usually on their pallets still, and then you have like a flat cart that you can use to carry all of your stuff, because you can buy a lot in bulk. So yeah, that's the same thing. S&R and Landers operate on a similar principle. So I just want to highlight the fact that Warheads, which I thought is long gone, still exists, not only in candy form, but in soda form as well. So I don't know if and forgive me if I missed you, but Mario, but if you have that in Germany as well, but yes, that's a thing that used to be popular in the Philippines as well, but I don't know if they have similar unusual sodas in Germany as well, but feel free to go share if you have. Okay, so we're done with the unusual drinks. Let's go to the next picture, which I got. Ah, yes, this one. So this has become a joke recently in the Philippines, and about how by the way, how is the audio? How is the Spotify compared to my voice? Is my voice still a bit louder compared to the Spotify music? I'll just pause to give a chance for people to answer. Spotify good. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So this is a joke lately in the Philippines because I don't know if it's a Philippine only thing or this has happened to other countries. But whenever we have these kinds of cans for biscuits or cookies, these really fancy, beautiful cans, usually you would end up, usually you would think, oh, we got some new biscuits, we got some new cookies. But then you open it up and look what's inside. Sewing supplies. So I joked, the caption for this picture is that, these sewing kits are looking pretty good now. Because honestly speaking, 9 times out of 10, if you see this in your house, let's say your grandparents' house or your aunt and uncle's house, then it's not going to be filled with cookies or biscuits or crackers anymore. No, it's going to be filled with sewing supplies. So Husk says yup. So apparently this is not just a Philippine only thing. It happens around the world as well. High-end sewing kits. So I am glad that we are not alone. We are not alone in this experience as well. I don't have a picture for it, but there is something else that we like to do here in the Philippines, and that is if you think that you actually have like a tub of ice cream. I'm talking like a gallon of ice cream. You have a gallon of ice cream in your fridge and you're like, ooh, we got some ice cream. Let me go ahead and grab a cup and a spoon and enjoy some ice cream. But if you look inside, you actually have like adobo or like some fish or meat marinating in in the ice cream tub. So again, classic betrayal scenario. You think these cans hold biscuits and cookies? Wrong. It's a sewing kit. You think that ice cream tub in the fridge holds ice cream? No. It holds marinating meat. That is the reason why I have trust issues in my life. Petty, I know, but it starts when you're young. But I think what really happened, what really gave me trust issues in the beginning was when my mom still baked, because she used to have a hobby, or she used to have like a side business of baking, and she would bake cakes, she would bake cupcakes, brownies, all that jazz, and she would also bake cookies. And sometimes I would sample the cookies, and I thought that it was a chocolate chip cookie, and I would bite into it, and then it turns out that no, it's not a chocolate chip cookie it's not a chocolate chip cookie, it's a raisin cookie. And that blew my mind. I do not like raisins in cookies. I do like raisins in my oatmeal, raisins and walnuts in my oatmeal, but not in my cookies. God forbid that they are in my cookies. But I do find them... No. Just don't put them in my cookies. They're fine. They're fine in some other things, but not in my cookies. It's like how in Japan, from the media that I've seen, the stereotypical food that children hate is green pepper in Japan, based on anime. And in America, correct me if I'm wrong, it's broccoli. Kids will do anything not to eat broccoli. If in the Philippines, it's probably ampalaya. The English name of which is bitter gourd. I don't know the scientific name at the moment, so just bear with me, will you? And yeah, oatmeal cookies, I love those. Yeah, that's true. Unless they have raisins, and then we have a problem. But yeah, that's just another picture that I took. Sewing kits sold. Don't trust them. Classic betrayal moments. You can never believe your eyes. In 10 million fireflies. we can skip this one, but yeah, this was all taken place in a place called Mr. Park's Bread and Cake. It's really good, I'll admit. Their sandwiches could use a bit of work, but the coffee is not so bad. It's a caramel macchiato. Usually, if I go to a coffee shop, that's usually like the safest thing that I order. I usually order like a caramel macchiato. And then usually it's good because I like caramel flavored things. I don't know about you, but if I buy anything coffee related, caramel is usually like the safest thing to order for me. Unless you're talking about like nanyang, which is a way different thing, because then I order iced kopi. Kopi. It's really good. So anyway, we're done with that. And I want to talk about Bundaberg. That's another thing that I took a picture of. Bundaberg ginger beer. That's... More people need to know about the power of Bundaberg ginger beer. I missed it because they stopped selling it in the office. And one thing that I want to point out is that Bundaberg not only sells ginger beer, they don't only sell, sarsaparilla, which is like for Ren, so it's more relatable. It's like Fanta, root beer. They don't only sell that, but they also sell like sodas. Like there was a pink soda, like a pink lemonade, and a bunch of other things. And I remember, and I have a fondness for Bundaberg because that was the last thing that I bought with my savings before I ran out of savings. So, just to give some context, in my college, I majored in English literature. And just from hearing about it in today's economy, it's not the most marketable major in the world. So it was either I become a teacher or I do something else or whatever. My options were pretty limited at the time. And in the Philippines, back in my time, you would graduate from school by around, let's say, March or April. And for a couple of months after, I was jobless. I spent days and days trying to apply for a job in different websites, but I never got a bite. Nobody decided to take a no experience guy with an English literature degree like me. So the last thing that I bought, so when I was running out of savings, I decided to treat myself before I finally ran out of money. So the last thing that I got was some bottles of Bundaberg soda. Well, it was not much anyway because I had like a couple of 100 pesos before I ran out of money. So I just wanted to be happy before I ran out. But just to set the record straight, I was still living with my family, and I still do, because, well, in this economy, do you really want to be striking out on your own? We have a different way of doing things compared to other places in the world where you're expected to live on your own when you're college age. For us, it's in the Philippines. In some families, it's still acceptable to live with your family. And your extended family too. So anyway, I still live with my family even after I had no more money. But the fact of the matter is that after my savings ran dry, I had to depend on them again financially. Until I finally landed my first job. And then when I finally got my first paycheck, I could actually support myself. So Bundaberg, long story short, is something that remains special to my heart. It provides a good sense of fondness for me. And that kind of ties back to where we were at the very beginning of this episode. Because I mentioned that the experiences that we had when we were younger, when we were kids, if you were to visit your hometown after being away from for a very long time, if you go ahead and go back to your hometown, you will see it is unavoidable that things will change. Street names would change. Landmarks that you grew up loving as a child will probably be gone or renovated or whatever. And so there's nothing we could do about that. That's just how it is in life. And you may try to experience the same thing, but it's gonna be different. You might try visiting like your favorite childhood restaurant, but they may not offer the same menu items. And you might try your favorite drink, like me with Bundaberg, but the experience is different. And it can be sad because, you know, it's like a part of your childhood is gone. You're not able to experience the same things that you did when you were younger, which is understandably sad. But it also gives an opportunity for things to be a bit happier because now you get to experience things in a different light too. Now that I'm older and a little more stable financially, I am now able to enjoy a drink of Bundaberg as a pleasure and not be reminded of the fact that I was jobless for a number of months while after I graduated from college. So there's that. So yeah, whenever I see a bottle of Bundaberg, I go ahead and get their ginger beer. If you spot a bottle of Bundaberg ginger beer in your local store, I suggest you go get it. It's good. It's a bit sour. It's a bit sweet. Go ahead and get some. You won't regret it. It's a Serjay Svek recommended drink right there. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, Bundaberg. All right, we'll just leave it at that. I kind of forgot what was happening, so we'll just proceed. Oh yeah, just the last thing that I was talking about. Yeah, look at that. Look at them burger steaks. I'm sorry if it doesn't really look clear, so let me just use the partial picture. There, see? So this is from Meat Plus Cafe in Subic. So not only did we visit Aquaplanet in Pampanga, the Clark area, but we also went to Subic the next day, Sunday. And we spent a long time on that day just going around. Well, they went around and actually just watched and then went shopping. And for those of you who don't know, I am a night shifter in the Philippines. And what that means is that I have to survive trying not to fall asleep while others have the energy to go around and still do shopping. And the funny thing is, all of the people who were with me at the time, we were all night shifters, and some of them had a shift the night beforehand. And yet somehow, they still managed to have enough energy to go around, play in the water park the previous day, and then the next day, they still had enough energy to go shopping. Like, for real, how do you do this? How do you survive all of this? My social interaction batteries had run dry already a long time beforehand. I think that it's abundantly clear as a result of this that I really am more of an introvert than an extrovert. Yeah, it's just how it is. And I also want to recognize the presence of Leon. Thank you very much for dropping by, good sir. Good morning to you. And we are, let me go ahead and give you a shout out. Today's topic of the stream, we're just talking about my experience last weekend, where I went to Aquaplanet in Pampanga and then to Subic. And the last thing we were talking about is just how I was trying to survive because I was low energy and my social media, social interaction batteries were drained, as in. But it's a new day today, Thursday, November 17, 2022 at 7:30 a.m. in the Philippines. This time check was brought to you by DJ Serjay, which is a regular scheduled segment of my streams every 6 a.m. Philippine time on Thursday mornings. And if you want to hear more about me talking about my life and a bunch of other topics, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitch if you haven't done so already. Okay, so going back to where I was, all of us who went on that trip were night shifters, and somehow they were able to still have enough energy to go shopping, and I was just drained. After I had my breakfast earlier in the day with all that food, I was just tired, you know? I could not do anything. I was just exhausted. Most of the time, I just sat in the corner and then just let my friends do their shopping while I tried to nap. And and I realized, yes, that I truly am an introvert at that moment. Some people say that you have... How do I phrase this? But you know, some people say that if you're an introvert, you're shy, you're withdrawn, you're quiet, that sort of thing, which is true to some degree, to some people. But introversion can also mean, from how I understand, but you can also be loud, you can also talk a lot, you can be ready to make social interactions as well, if you're an introvert. What makes you different from an extrovert is that an introvert really has limited energy to interact with other people or to be in a social situation. Introverts are more comfortable, you know, trying to gather energy and trying to maintain their energy by themselves. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're withdrawn. It doesn't necessarily mean they are quiet, but they can be loud, they can be social if they need to be. It's not their default mode, so to speak. So, in the same way that I am, if I have to go on stream, I have to be loud, I have to be energetic, because I know that's what I want people to feel. Nothing in my experience, when I commentate matches of Splatoon, when I am going to events, there is no better feeling in the world than being in that room with all of that people and feeling the energy, the hype coming in, and knowing that you are a big part of that. So I don't know if I guess I am an introvert, because I have a limited amount of energy to deal with people, with social situations. But I also gather the energy of the people around me whenever I feel hype. And I guess that's why I really love hosting events. I really love being a commentator whenever there's a Splatoon tournament, because the fact of the matter is that whatever energy I may be spending or may be burning through a social situation, it gets replaced easily just feeling, you know, the energy of people. They're laughing at my jokes. They're going through all of the things that I do. They listen to what I say, and then I can feel it building up, and I feel ready to continue with the show. And the show must go on. You have to do your best. You have to put your best foot forward. But after every tournament, after every hosting event, usually I am just drained, and there's nothing that I would love more than to go home, because I have exhausted my social batteries and I'm running on fumes. That's right, Ren. We all need to recharge from time to time, and we all have our own ways of trying to deal with situations like these. But Will is my So the takeaway from it is that, people manifest their extroversion or introversion in their own ways. So just because because I think, this is just me, okay? I find issue in calling people introverted just because they're quiet or withdrawn, or they don't really like to, go out and interact with people. Some people, they're very active, but there's a limit to their interactiveness. So just try to be more understanding of where they're coming from. Some people are shy. Just because some people are shy doesn't mean that they're introverted, nor are they withdrawn. So, tangent, but I think that is relevant to the story that I'm trying to tell for today. So, there I was in the store, trying not to fall asleep or be too exhausted, because I was exhausted. I was drained. Not only did the water park yesterday drain me pretty much, but also that I had to deal with, just being out of my regular sleep schedule, because, like I said, I'm a graveyard shift. So by the time of lunchtime in the Philippines, I would be sleeping. Right now, 7:30 a.m., I would be like winding down so that I could fall asleep by 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. So there's a whole bunch of things that are like really pulled me out of my comfort zone last weekend. And by the time we arrived in Subic and people were having their shopping spree, I was just exhausted. I was running on fumes. I was below empty. I was like scraping the bottom of the barrel. And there was nothing much that I could really do about it. I could not just tell people, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling well. I would like to go home. I can't do that. Because I'm in Subic, which is like at least an hour away from my home in Metro Manila. And I couldn't just like call a Grab, which is the Philippine version of Uber or Lyft, and then just call a taxi or ride a bus and then head straight home. It doesn't work like that. So I just had to tough it out. And then the only thing that I could do was eat. Because the only thing that seemed to keep me surviving the entire time was food. Excuse me. And yeah. So I had Korean corn dogs. Unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of that. But a Korean corn dog, unlike an American corn dog, which is like dough and then deep fried, dough or batter wrapped around a hot dog on a stick and then deep fried. A Korean corn dogs, whatever the Korean name is that it's a hot dog on a stick, and then it's battered up and with cubes, tiny minced cubes of potatoes, and then it's all rolled up and then deep fried. And then the one that I ordered had some cheese in the hot dog, and it was liberally coated with ketchup and mayonnaise and honey mustard, and it was good. But I really feel bad that I didn't take a picture of it, but it felt like I had to dislocate my jaw to be able to eat that thing. It's like that. It's kind of like I have issue with certain places like Zark's in the Philippines. Zark's is a hamburger restaurant, and one of the I don't know, Ren or Leon, if you've or whoever else in the Philippines who is lurking or watching, I don't know if you've experienced the Zark's big, like the tall burgers. I'm not talking about like 2 patties big or 3 patties big. No, it's like 4 or 5 patties big. So that's like one of the gimmicks of Zark's. They have like these really tall burgers, and there was also this challenge once where if you eat this super tall burger and then you eat the fries and then the drinks, then you will get that meal for free, and then you get your picture on the wall and a bunch of other things. So it's kind of like man versus food. Burgers, Leon says. That's true. I take issue with super tall burgers. Super tall, like in some restaurants where you have to have a knife instead of a toothpick to actually stick it together. Like, I'm not an anaconda, okay? I cannot unhinge my jaw to be able to eat like a 5-patty burger, you know? You might as well make it wide, so that at least it's just a matter of no horizontally. So yeah, just another thing, you know. I'm getting to the narrative. It's just that there's like a way to go through it. There's a technique to that. I see, Leon. I see. I hope it's PG. We're trying to keep this family friendly, especially since it's early in the morning. Woo! Okay. Anyway, so yeah, Meat Plus is the restaurant that we went to right before we went home from Subic. So there's that. And yeah, it's just pretty much well, they have like their steaks, they have rib eyes, they have grilled chicken, but I wasn't really in the mood for that, so I ended up just ordering a couple of burger steaks. And thank goodness the burgers were well done this time, because if you missed the earlier part of this episode, when I was in Aquaplanet, I ordered a burger from there, but the burger seemed medium rare, so it was pretty pink in the middle. And I told the staff, is it okay if you can just heat up the burger and make it well done? I'm fine with that. But they were like, sir, it's better if we just cook up a new burger for you. And I said, no, you don't have to do that. That's excessive. Just, cook the burger and then I'll be fine with that. But they were like, no, sir, we insist. And I'm like, okay. I mean, thank you, I guess. All right, and going to Leon's technique over here, in order to deal with like super tall burgers, I squish the burger down, which is a valid idea, a valid technique. The only problem you have to deal with, Leon, is the juices of the burger, going all over your hands if you're not careful. But if you're able to do it without worrying about that, then yes, more power to you. Okay, and in this restaurant, Meat Plus, is where I began to discover the power of A1 steak sauce. A1 steak sauce is not so bad after all. I think Rax is still better, but A1 steak sauce is not so bad. And they also have Worcestershire sauce. So it seems that whenever you're having barbecue or steaks, it's always either in A1 steak sauce or Worcestershire sauce. And I find it funny because Max's, which is a legendary chicken restaurant in the Philippines, we also have Worcestershire sauce. But what we do is that we mix it with our ketchup, and then that's what we have with our chicken, our fried chicken. So it's just a funny coincidence, because you would think that Worcestershire sauce is not exactly a popular thing in the Philippines, but it is, at least in virtue of it being part of the Max condiment lineup. So there's that. Yes, Worcestershire. Yes, A1 steak sauce. The last time I ever had an A1 steak sauce was in Outback years ago. Goodness gracious. Those were the times right there. Holy cow, Outback Steakhouse. What have you done? And that's pretty much it for the picture slideshow. And yeah, it was a pretty interesting experience, and I just want to point out Nutella and go. If you're in a hurry and you want to have a snack, Nutella and go. I already had the pretzel sticks earlier. The pretzel sticks are good. Nice salty pretzel sticks with the Nutella. But it's kind of like the problem that I have with Yan Yan. It's like you're trying to be very careful with how much dip you actually put on the pretzel stick. And then by the end of when you've run out of pretzel sticks, you have a whole bunch of dip that you still have unused. So what do? Just dig it out with your finger, I guess. It's a messy way of going about it, but that's pretty much how it is, really. This is pretty much how it is. One last thing that I want to show is this thing, I love you. The reason why I have this written on a piece of paper is because during the trip, one of my friends actually mentioned that she knows how to read, like what kind of person you are based on your handwriting. So it depends, let's say, if you put your eye, the dot on your eye closer to the eye or further from the eye, where do you cross your T, your small letter T, or if you write in all capitals, what is the shape of the letter O or the letter E, those sorts of things. I forgot the exact term for it, but it's sort of like just figuring out how you are as a person based on your handwriting. And according to this picture, this sample of I love you, according to my friend, if you see the letter O's here, they're very wide, they're very round. And according to that, my friend, she says that if it's like that, that means you're very generous. You're very generous. And if your writing is straight up, like it's not leaning to the left, it's not leaning to the left or it's not leaning to the right, then, and if it's like straight up, then you are very organized. Very organized. And if you're like me, if you put a lot of pressure, like you really put your pen on the paper and like dig it down, then that is a sign that you are a very passionate person. So yeah, that is the fortune that I was given when I had this information. I do not know if it's like super accurate, but I'll let you all decide if that is accurate to me, Serjay Svek, as well. And that's pretty much it for this picture slideshow. Let's go ahead and get back to the main talk show. Okay, and this is where we are right now. We are back in the studio of Serjay Svek, and I think for a number of you, this is your first time seeing this studio. This was actually done by my good friend and moderator Milas, who does the art for all of my assets, including my GIF model, and then he also did the backgrounds and my logo and all of the things that you see here. So just to give a little credit to Milas, if you want to check out his work, I put the link to his art station in the chat right now, and it's really amazing because he was already featured in Graphica Manila, the magazine collection for artists, multiple times. So yeah, just showing some love to my artist Milas as well. I do not know if he does commissions at this point in time, but yeah, just want to get it out there that he deserves all the recognition that he deserves and more. And I hope that everybody is doing okay. I hope that you were able to enjoy this segment of today's video, and I hope that we were able to get something out of it as well. So again, it's all about trying to experience new things. I did not want to go on that trip. I was much more comfortable just staying at home, streaming, doing my own thing. But, you know, in hindsight, I was happy that I went on the trip. No matter how physically and mentally draining it was fun to actually step away and do something outside of my comfort zone. It's not something that I would do on a regular basis, but it's something that I would probably do a little more often. So this is where we are now, and I would like to thank everybody for coming into another episode of DJ Serjay. And I hope that you will all join me as we raid this person here. And I do have the raid message on chat as well. Ren says, I'll prepare myself for the next SR session after some things that I need to finish first. Yes. Prepare yourself mentally, my friend, because we're going to be... I don't want you to have to go through the same trauma that we did last night. But yes, we're done with that, and we'll be raiding this person. Hopefully they'll still be around for a bit. And also, for those of you who are going to be following me, I will have another stream at 6 p.m. tonight, Thursday, November 17. That will be my continuation of Dark Souls Remastered. And hopefully you'll be able to join me, and hopefully we'll be able to continue with the story, and we'll be able to move on from where I'm stuck right now. So there. Thank you very much again for your patience, and we'll go ahead and begin the raid shortly. And I would appreciate everybody for stopping by. So again, DJ Serjay will come in every Thursday at 6 a.m. Philippine time. So if you haven't followed me yet and you want to go ahead and be part of the show, feel free to do so. But thanks once again for your time. I hope I brought a little bit of color to your day. My name is Serjay Svek. Hope that you have a great day. You take care and always stay safe. Bye now.